Hey mamas, choosing your birth team is super important and is also a really fun part in preparing for birth, as you get to tell those people that are going to be a part of your birth team in that delivery room for that really special, intimate time. But sometimes you have to break it to some people that they won't be in the room with you while you are delivering your child. And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 6 tips on how to break that kind of hard news to people who won't be with you in that room. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell so you can watch all my other videos. I'm Bridget and I'm a birth doula in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I love helping moms love their birth. So it's always a little bit hard and awkward telling someone that they're not going to be on your birth team, especially if they've kind of already believed that they're going to be a part of your birth team in the delivery room, supporting you, being there when baby is born, all that jazz. So the first tip that I have for you is just to early on decide who's going to be a part of your birth team, who's going to be in that room, and share that early on so that people don't have time to kind of formulate their own ideas about what that birth is going to be like. Whether they're going to be there, who's going to be there, all of that. So make your decisions early on. So, I mean, it doesn't have to be the first decision that you make. But, I'd say by the second trimester, try to have an idea of who's going to be in the birth room and then share that with them as soon as you can. As you're deciding who's going to be on your birth team, you're definitely going to want to check in with your care provider to see how many people are allowed to be in the room with you if you are giving birth at a hospital. I know the general rule for most of the hospitals that I've been a part of is that 3 people are allowed to be with you in the room. And so that varies from hospital to hospital, from birth center, wherever that may be. Of course, if you're in your home, you can, decide whoever you want to be there. But definitely check in with your care provider. The other factor when deciding who you're going to have as a part of your birth team in the birth space with you is to figure out with your partner the expectations of your birth space. So ask yourself when you're deciding whether or not you want someone there, ask them, how are they going to help me? How are they going to support me and my partner in this process to decide whether or not they're a good fit for your birth space. Once you have your birth team nailed down, the second tip that I have for you when sharing with someone that they won't be in your birth space is to tell them in a calm environment. So if emotions are already running high, maybe you've been in an argument or, you've had a disagreement with this person, it's not a good idea to bring it up then, just because tensions are already going to be running high. And so it's important that you choose a calm, neutral environment that you share this news so that you can talk about it if you need to. And so that, the other person that you're telling isn't already in a bad mood. So the third tip that I have for you is to use positive words. Now, people like hearing what they can do as opposed to what they cannot do. So it's important to share with them, ways that they can be a part of the birth instead of ways that you don't want them or they can't be a part of your birth. So a few examples of focusing on positive words for what they can do as opposed to what they can't do are, for example, you can't be in the delivery room, or I don't want you in the delivery room. So instead of saying that, focus on, I would love it if you waited in the waiting room until the birth is done. That way you're sharing with them where you want them to be, how they can be of most service to you and support you best, where that's them waiting in the waiting room. And you're not saying, I just don't want you to be a part of it, or you can't be a part of it. It's telling them what they can do, where they can be for your birth. Another positive thing that you can say instead of you can't come to the birth is you can come see the baby after he or she is born. It tells them what they can do, how they can be a part of your birth instead of saying, no, you can't be a part of it at all. And last but not least, instead of saying, we don't want you on our birth team, you can say, we've actually already chosen our birth team, but we would love it if you could support us in another way. So using positive words is really going to help them know what they can do instead of being turned away and shut down by what you're telling them they can't do. So always, if you can, try to use positive but very direct and straightforward words when you're telling them that, while they can't be a part of your birth, that you would love them to be a part of it in a different kind of role. The fourth tip that I have for you is to assure them when they will see the baby. That's like the big thing about birth. They want to be there for the baby when they're born. They want to be there for you. And so by you assuring them that, hey, you might not be able to be at the birth, but I'm going to make sure I call you as soon as we're settled in the hospital room, or we're going to invite you as soon as we're in that postpartum room, or, we're going to take lots of pictures and make sure you get them as soon as possible. So assure them when they will be seeing the baby and when they will be having a part in your life, whether that's, directly after the birth or, a little bit down the road. So just assure them when they will get to see the baby and be able to see you as well. The fifth tip that I have for you is to give them another way they can help or support you. Have you heard the phrase, it takes a village? Well, it's true. And there are so many different ways that they can support you rather than just being in the birth room with you, where they might not necessarily be a lot of help. So there are lots of different options where they can support you that aren't necessarily in the delivery room. For example, you can ask them to set up a meal train for you. And I'll put the link up here so that you can check that out, where it's just like an online sign up where people can start bringing you food, or you can ask them to make meals for you. You could ask them to take your kids during, your birth, so you don't have to be worried about all that. So those are just a couple ways that they can be involved in your birth that aren't in that delivery room. So the sixth tip that I have for you is to write it in your birth plan. It's super important that you have your whole birth team on board with your birth plan, your birth desires. And so that even comes down to including who you want at the birth. So it's important to write it down, because at the hospital, let's say you only want your partner, your doula, and your mom. Then having it in your birth plan is going to help the medical staff, help the nurses to, kind of act as bouncers at the door to, hold off any visitors until after the baby has been born and you want more visitors to come see you. So make sure it's in your birth plan. If you are having a home birth, that is also very helpful, just because it allows other people in your house to be able to be like, nope, we're not going to let, we're going to lock the door. We're going to keep, all the public outside. And so it's really important, no matter what setting you're in, birth center, hospital, home birth, that you include that in your birth plan so everybody knows and is on board. So if you're having to tell someone that they aren't going to be in the delivery room with you during that birth, I hope that these 6 tips have helped you in, being able to be confident about sharing with them that they won't be there, that it's not that you don't want them at all a part of the birth, but maybe in a different way. And so it's really important that you are able to share that very confidently and straightforward and directly so they get the picture, but in a loving way as well. So hopefully they have helped you. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.